Hello everyone, welcome back to Marvel Mania. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
Hey Eric, put this on your face and tell me if it's comfortable. Let's see.
I mean,
okay.
I could sleep on this.
You think so?
No, it doesn't seem like it would make a good. I
really still don't think so, and it's exactly that.
Yeah, it's exactly.
And actually, that's even better because that's plastic.
It's not metal.
You know, how do you keep that from being cold?
We should buy a bunch of these and break the tops off
and make a bed.
And make a bed and test it.
I wonder how big they make those. I wonder if they make them a lot bigger.
I don't know.
Yeah, but like it looks cool, but I don't buy it. Anyway, today we are not doing more of the Wolverine, although there's a part of me that almost wants to do a second viewing of that, given
you've already done a commentary on it.
Of like, well, no, that's absolutely true. But I'm like, wow,
I'm gonna love that video.
It's like somehow or rather I feel like I know less about that movie because I watched it again. Today we're doing Thor: The Dark World, a movie that I don't feel remotely qualified to talk about because I've only seen it once or twice in the theater, as I talked about yesterday. And
you watched it so little.
I love this movie so much that I have not taken it out of the shrink wrap. I don't know.
Mint condition.
Mint condition, yeah. I don't know how long I've had this. I probably bought it. That might have been the point where I started buying these right when they come out. Because as you know, now every superhero movie that comes out, I buy on at least week one. And this is also so we're gonna take this out of the shrink monumental occasion. We're gonna take this out of the shrink wrap on camera. And this also it marks the first movie that Marvel Studios decided to stop putting I can't blame it on Marvel Studios. I guess the distributor decided to stop putting DVD Blu-ray combos on, which is annoying for me with taking pictures out for Rewind because Blu-ray discs in computers is still not a normal regular thing, so you have to buy one, put it in, and I can't make the software work right with my video card for some reason. So anyway,
well, now it's an issue for us,
and and it becomes an issue today, which is why we're up here again instead of in.
We'll be up here more now because you have all of them on Blu-ray moving forward, right?
I think there's one or two that I might have ended up with on DVD for some
Guardians
reason.
You have on Blu-ray? I think you have Winter Soldier on Blu-ray.
Yeah, you're right.
Age of Ultron on Blu-ray?
But at least one of those I have a digital copy of.
Okay.
So we could watch online that way. Cool. But anyway, so here we go. We're gonna take this out of the shrink wrap, and this will be the first time on camera we put one of these in the player.
So this isn't an unboxing; it's like an unshrinking, unwrapping. I guess unwrapping would be the.
I mean, we can make it an unboxing. Let's see what it looks like inside. I wonder. Yeah, it's got those things, those annoying.
Really? It's Blu-ray.
No, it's got
no, it's got the middle tab, which is the Blu-ray thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice. They put the disc in there in the middle, and they like holds in. That's real cool. These are what unboxings are like. Shoot me.
He says like he doesn't work in a store that sells video. Anyway, all right. So let's get this in our Blu-ray player. Okay, so this is an older Blu-ray player. Watch how long this takes. It's not even on. Oh.
Wow! It took so long.
It took forever. Usually when that's on, I swear to God, I will hit the eject button and I will just sit here.
I was waiting. I was waiting for the
third chapter of a book.
And didn't hit.
I really thought it was gonna be like, let's tackle the Constitution of the United States of America, but no. No, we didn't get to do that today.
The Art of War and other classics of Eastern thought.
And by the end, we'll start on our own country. We will be ready to begin our own nation. Eric, the Geekvolution Nation.
Geek the Nation?
Yeah.
Geek Nation. I guess
today's
Geek Nation. I'm sure that's something.
Today's commentary is brought to you by Dr. Pepper, by Cherry Dr. Pepper. I've gotten to where I like cherry everything. There's cherry sodas are all good. You know, name a bad cherry soda, they're all good.
It's funny because I don't dislike cherry sodas. But like they're not my preference except for Mountain Dew. Code Red's my favorite Mountain Dew.
And it's not cherry.
Is it not?
No, that's not a cherry flavor. It's just red. I don't know. Well,
that's what I always thought. And then someone said it's cherry, and I'm like, I guess it is cherry.
I don't think they're right. I don't think it is.
Okay, well then I don't feel dumb.
But I don't know.
Because I always thought the flavor of Code Red was red.
This always cracks me up. I feel like we're just looking at a wallpaper. Like you pop it in, and it's just a wallpaper.
I don't know if I've ever seen this before. Ooh, that's cool.
What is going on?
Oh no, it's a.
Yeah. That's your.
We want English.
Pick your. No, let's watch it in Portuguese. How are those? How's that the selection? English, France, or English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and it seems like the fourth one was always really random. You know, it could be German, it could be.
Why not Esperanto?
Polish, it could be anything.
I really want a DVD that has Esperanto subtitles. Because based on the way Esperanto was created, I should be able to get the gist of the...
I bet that movie Shatner made has Esperanto subtitles.
I bet it doesn't. Because it's spoken in Esperanto. I bet you it's subtitled in English. I bet you that's the only way you could...
It should also have a track.
It should have Esperanto subtitles.
Yeah, so you can look at it.
We should watch that movie. We should blind commentary that movie.
That sounds like a horrible idea. We won't have anything to say. We'll just be like, yeah, it's pretty weird, and it was in Blade Trinity for some reason, and that's all we'll have.
Yep.
Shatner likes to do strange experimental things.
Okay, so what
well, actually likes to do. Wasn't he, like, brought on that project for some reason? That wasn't his idea, was it?
No, I believe he was a huge supporter of Esperanto.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
So while we're getting through all the menus,
we're
talking about doing...
This is, we never do this on camera. We always say get past all the menus and get to timestamp 0. Today you get to see us get through all the menus and get... But maybe we'll just sit here and watch these exciting previews. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
We were talking about doing All Hail the King as like a mini.
Yeah.
Which I guess we should have done Agent Carter if we were going to do that. But I just thought of it because it's on this Blu-ray.
Yeah, well, and also I've never seen the... I think I've seen the Carter one. Maybe I haven't, actually. I forget. But I definitely have never seen the All Hail the King one.
Which, do you want to do that as like a mini episode, or should we just do it at the end of this?
I think we should do it at the end of this.
Okay.
You know, like we did with that trailer the other day.
For Die Hard on a Bike?
Yeah, Die Hard on a Bike. We need to watch that. We should blind commentary that
We should blind commentary that.
I wish you do more blind commentary. I think those are a lot of fun. At the risk of doing, like, reaction-type videos... try to bring more substance to it if possible.
Well, it's a lot harder to do reaction videos to a whole movie.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that it's still sort of in that genre, and I kind of resist being too much of a part of that. At the risk of sounding
It's
stupid.
a lot easier.
I don't like to watch people watching things, which is what this is.
Okay,
I realize.
okay.
We're trying to make this.
You know what's real depressing? Because I know this exists.
Yeah.
I don't know it exists, but I know it exists.
I feel that I'm calling out an entire genre of YouTube videos right now, and some people do it well, where it's as fun to watch as that could possibly be. But no disrespect to anyone who likes to watch those sorts of things or make them. It's just that's not what we do when I try to be as substantive as possible.
I guarantee you, there were reaction videos that were.
I like this.
People saying like, "All right, so the new Star Wars movie has a title. We're gonna see what it is." And then, because all reaction videos are exactly the same, they clicked on it and said, "The Last Jedi!" Ah! That's what all reaction videos are.
Yeah, I don't know. I try to be more. I would try to be more level-headed than that. You know, I would try to at least think of something.
It could mean anything.
Yeah, anything. Like what? What does that tell you? What does it tell you? Okay, so we have gotten. We are almost done getting through the menus.
You did all those with Dan, and I wasn't happy about that. We should do those together.
I don't want to have to do that again. I'm not a Star Wars guy. I already made a fool out of myself acting like I didn't act like I had anything to say about Star Wars. Being a guy that's not a Star Wars guy, I did the best I could. Those were a lot of fun to do, though. I'm sorry you weren't invited.
It's okay.
That was during a period where you were hardly on the internet at all.
That's true. And you're like, "Oh, I'm doing Star Wars videos with Dan." And I was like, "Oh."
He's really upset about this.
I really like Star Wars.
Like he's really upset. He's got like a thing in his craw about this.
I want to do a commentary for the Star Wars movies now. I don't have enough.
I know you haven't done this on camera yet, but it is uncanny how often this comes on. Eric does seem to have a tendency to be like, Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars guy too,
It's like
I know Star. You were even like, I know Star Wars better than Dan does. Why am I not on those? Them might be fighting words.
It's well, I mean, new continuity he can have. because nothing substantive has happened, and there are no Sith Lords.
How do you know you haven't even been looking at the comics?
I'm not saying they're bad. They're not substantive, though.
Well, how do you know? You haven't looked at them.
I have. I read the first arc of Star Wars. I read the first arc of Vader.
Okay.
And I have a pretty good sense of what happens in the novels, although I've not read any of them.
No, I do feel like there's some stuff in Vader that informs things later, but at least you can't say that about, or at least this is our opinion, at least you can't say that about Rogue One.
Or you know, or kind of Afra. Afra was quite good and seemed to be like building some universe stuff.
Yeah. But like Rogue One has a big thing with Vader where I'm like, oh, that's why he's acting like that later. Okay. And I just think that's great. But anyway, so
but that's not really what I'm looking for. Like that stuff's fine, but like I want history. I want things that I don't know.
Okay, but what you want and what you said are different things. You know, you said like
when I say substantive, like, I don't mean like, oh well, Han Solo's kind of irritated in this scene, so we're going to explain why he's irritated from scene to scene. I want to know what the history of things are.
It's a character motivation.
I know, and that's why I switched to Han Solo.
Yeah.
But like, I want.
It's a tactic. Keep up.
I want things about Jedis and Sith and the Force and history, and like I want things that like matter. Those films already work on their own. I don't need these people to keep improving, like adding to them.
Yeah, that's fine.
I want the stuff I don't know. I don't know.
Because you had it in the other EU.
Yeah, because I had it in the other EU. I knew the entire history of Jedi and Sith, which was convoluted, and
I imagine
would be my number one reason.
Eventually, I also feel like I don't know how this turned into a Star Wars video, but I kind of feel like you would. I
can't stop playing with this.
I kind of feel like you wouldn't like it if they like dropped too much of that all at once when we just rebooted. You know what I mean? Like
I would like some of it.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, anyway,
I'm still not happy how little we've got in between 6 and 7.
Yeah.
We've seen 7. I should be getting that stuff. I should be knowing, but because it was all a mystery, I can't know what Luke and Han Leia were doing in between that.
So let's go ahead and get into Dark World, shall we? If you want to watch it with us, do what I just did, but don't take us longer. Pause the video and get it past all the menus to timestamp 0. Get ready to press play when I say now, and here we go. So I finally have taken it out of the shrink wrap. I can watch the film I've had on my shelf for at least a couple of years now.
You're gonna have to go get it CGC graded.
Oh yeah, I buy all my movies twice and keep one in the shrink wrap. No, I don't do that.
Someone does that.
Someone does that. I have the bookcase for the ones I watch and put in for Rewind, and I have the other
ones
bookcase
for your collection.
It's the pristine bookcase. It says so on the side. It says pristine. All right, here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Everybody, please press play. Right. Are you sure you're ready? Are you good? Okay. Now.
The Star Wars thing is kind of like it's kind of like this thing I have with these with these Ninja Turtles toys. I already told you about the Ninja Turtles toys thing.
Probably. Go ahead.
So when I was a kid, my mom said I had to.
Is this the first time we get this logo?
Yes, this is not in Iron Man 3.
And I love the new one.
Oh, the new one's
wonderful. This one was great too.
Yeah.
But and I gotta mention because that's the one we've been using for Marvel Mania.
Oh.
Is this one, and then it says Marvel over it, and then you hear that they just heard that a while ago. But much longer ago than usually by this point in the video. Anyway, so what are you saying?
One time when I was a kid, if I was going to go over to my friend's house, my mom said I had to clean my room, and she was going to go in after I went to my friend's house, and anything that was not put in its place, she would throw away. And I had Ninja Turtles.
You did tell me about that.
And I had the turtle van, and I put the turtles in the turtle van, and I didn't have a place for the turtle van, so I put it next to my desk. And when I came back, it was gone, and she threw them away. And I've never forgiven her, and it comes up often. It came up while she was here.
So this is another thing that you just can't stop bringing up.
That's why. I
see.
So
this all looks better than that action stuff that we had in Ice Realm.
So this is a weird thing. Oh yeah, this looks a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's because there's light.
Throw that out there.
This is a weird thing that we do with Thor. Because is Malekith the Dark Elf in the comics?
Yes.
Okay. In Norse mythology, Dark Elves are not elves. They are They are Nordic dwarves. What we would consider dwarves, those are dark elves.
Mm-hmm.
Thor does both. We have dwarves in Thor that are called dark elves, and I guess we also have Malekith and his people that are also called dark elves.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Because I knew there wasn't, like, elves and dark elves. It's not like this is a subset of some other culture. It's not. Like, they're all the dark elves.
You know, so there are two dark... There are not elves and dark elves, but there are dark elves and dark elves. You see there are dark elves and there are dark elves.
I got you, yeah. You see how, like, sinister and charismatic he is? No, you're not so much? Okay.
You've told me he should be perfect casting.
It should be perfect casting. I was so excited when I found out they got Eccleston, and it could have been anybody. And Eccleston, when this came out, complained really hard about all the great scenes that were cut. And I can't bring myself to care because I mean it does feel like
it didn't sound like those scenes where you were going to get the Malekith.
No, it's not like suddenly he's
just sounded like more backstory.
Yeah, so like there may be a more interesting character here than the one that's actually in this movie. Wow, do I not know this movie
at all? I wish those ships were a little bit more. They look like Star Wars ships, and I kind of wish they were a little bit more.
Well, I'm just going to say this whole opening sequence seemed real Star Wars.
But at least this feels kind of like fantasy-y, somewhat.
Yeah,
like it's
sure.
Those ships aren't designed to look like. They feel lazy. They should be fantasy spaceships, and they're just spaceships.
See, people like to complain that Ronan isn't a compelling villain, and
I mean he's not.
That is more acceptable to me than Malekith.
Well, yeah, because
partly because Malekith is fascinating in the comics.
It's a bring a team together movie. And so
this is just a taste thing for me. I don't know Ronan, so there might be a way more interesting Ronan too, and Ronan fans would be upset about that.
I don't know about
that. And I've heard a couple people who are like, oh, I like Ronan, and they ruined Ronan. So like, that's fair. I just don't know him. But even if I knew them both, part of the problem with making Malekith this two-dimensional of a villain is this movie is more about the villains. And like Ronan is very much a device in Guardians, and it knows it. So like whether or not you want that, like it's not about that relationship really so much. I mean, a little bit with Drax, I guess, but
yeah. So is Loki in this movie as much as he is because of Avengers, or do you think they always intend? Because he got huge after Avengers.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely. This goes without saying. One of the strengths of Thor, and I imagine.
But he got to that.
The thing. I don't think the question is would he be in it as much. I think the question is what would the characterization be, because we play him more for comedy than we possibly could have
in the first film
without Avengers.
Yeah.
So I think the take and what we do with him is probably different.
Well, we talked about this the other day that he was like the. Would you like the geek girl guy? Like he was.
I'm not on Odin's side in this scene, and I think it's hilarious.
I'm not on Odin's side in any of this movie, and just like we talked about in the first one,
I'm not sure.
I'm not convinced they want me to not be on his side.
Yeah, here, at least right now, as I'm looking at this scene, this is going to be very much me just watching this movie again, because I don't know it very well. But this does feel to me just instinctually like he's like maybe I am supposed to be a little bit more on Loki's side.
Yeah, and I guess there's a big scene later that I think
he is supposed to be sympathetic, like pretty sympathetic, I think.
Well, there's a big scene later between him and Thor that I think Odin is clearly wrong, but that's more of the this is the hero is right. Then I still don't know if the movie wants me to think he's morally ambiguous. He can be wrong in scenes because whatever, but like I don't know. I feel like the characterization is inconsistent. He is the wise leader except in the scenes where he's not. And I'm not supposed to think about that.
Once again, the amount of Earth stuff in this ends up being a little bit disappointing, and even almost more so because
Guardians if you've seen next year.
Well, that's not what I was going to say, but that's fair. But although then Guardians is more of a treat, so you can make that argument that finally we get the thing that's all that's kind of nice. I don't know. That's a slow motion shot I like.
Yeah.
But where it's all the big cosmic stuff. But no, what I was gonna say is this is if you haven't been looking at the previews at all, you're gonna look at this and think, oh, we're finally making the movie I wanted in the first place. A lot of people wanted in the first place. Where it's gonna be in the realms. I mean, when you open in one realm and then you go to Asgard and then you're in Vanaheim, you're talking 3 different realms in the span of 4 minutes. It feels like it's gonna be a bunch of different. Or that we're gonna be outside of Midgard through a lot of the movie, and so anyway, that's the movie.
And Fangio changed,
but
and
we're
no one
finally
noticed.
gonna kind of get that. It seems. So.
Fangio's actors changed, and no one noticed.
Nope. I bet. Yeah, I bet not. Well, I had forgotten about that.
Well, what I was saying about Loki before.
Yeah, sure.
This scene is lifted like almost exactly from that mid-2000s Troy movie with Brad Pitt.
Oh.
This is how Troy opens. But I mean, not with a giant. It's just like a big hulking dude.
I've never seen that.
But it's basically the same opening. But what I was saying about Loki is we were talking about this the other day. Loki was the like geek girl heartthrob. Like he was everywhere, and then it just stopped shortly after this film. Mm-hmm. It's almost like this movie like
some people in the arguments. Some people in the comments have argued with you about that a little bit.
Did we talk about that on camera?
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
you brought that up when we talked about Thor.
Oh, I thought that was a private conversation we had, and I was bringing up a new topic for the.
No. There are comments about that.
Oh well, then
saying you're wrong.
You know, I apologize. I mean, I'm not wrong. I don't apologize for that. I'm always right. But
I think it's just not in our purview anymore, and so the geek girls have moved on to other things.
That might be.
If he showed up again, when he shows up again, I think that might come back some.
Okay. It just feels like it died out real hard. In ways other things haven't.
Like?
The 11th Doctor, the 10th Doctor, Sherlock. Like, Sherlock wasn't on the air for like 3 years, and girls still went wild for that.
Yeah, but that's because Eccleston. That's because Cumberbatch stays in our purview.
But some of this is and neither does Matt Smith. But he's still all over the. They're both still all over the. I don't know. Maybe it's different because
it's just a Doctor Who fan thing.
That might be.
Like, I'm not sure these are all that comparable. You know what I mean? Because I think you have diehard Doctor Who fans. And like you have
Asgard looks bigger. This looks really good.
Yeah, this looks great. I'm not saying you don't have diehard Marvel Studios movie fans, but I just think it's different than people who are following a TV show and are obsessed with seeing that every week and a thing that's not based on other material. You know what I mean? Like
no, I guess that's fair. So right out of the gate, I think they got the wrong person to direct this movie.
Okay.
They did the exact same thing they did last time. Last time they got the Shakespeare guy and they gave him a movie that wasn't Shakespearean.
Yeah.
Or majoritively wasn't Shakespearean. They got a guy who directs Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is not huge epic action. I mean, it's kind of built to that a little bit.
It's talky.
It's a talky show. They didn't give him a talky movie.
It's a political backstabbing thing.
Yeah. And
I would love to see that Thor movie.
Yeah, and it seems like they were just like, well, he does a fantasy show, get him.
Yeah.
And I believe this film also
loses
a director, and he comes in. I think originally this had a female director.
Interesting.
I think.
I do really like how Thor is introduced in this movie. I like...
It's fun.
Well, and not just that it's fun. I like it in contrast to how he's introduced in the first movie. I think that's real deliberate.
Is this scene necessary?
Just with how, just with how, triumphant it is that he's gone through that character arc. He's a real different person. I don't know that Avengers has informed him all that much more than that first movie did.
Yeah, I don't think so. Especially because he's in a sad place here. It's not like...
But, now he's the protector character.
Or something.
He's not just about himself.
And you're right, the Rainbow Bridge is just fixed here.
Yeah.
No discussion. That's such a bummer.
I think it came up somewhere, and we must have talked over it. And again, somebody in the comments brought it up, and I don't remember what it was.
But that's such a bummer, because the way that first movie ends, it feels like this is the status quo we're leaving them on, and we will be picking up here. And then, okay, so Avengers had to have a hand-wavy explanation because it's not the Thor movie. Fine.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to that, and then we don't.
Well, now that I say that, like, if it was somewhere we missed it, where was it?
And why hasn't he been...
It wasn't Avengers.
Well, and it would have been...
Maybe it comes up in here somewhere. I don't know.
But then why hasn't he gone to see Jane if Bifrost is fixed?
That was my big question in the theater. No, I was really surprised. I really expected it to be broken.
This will be...
When I went to the theater, and I was like, what?
Will this be the first time you get to see the second after credit scene? Because I remember talking to you...
I don't remember what it is.
It's two scenes. And one of them should have been the ending of the movie.
Yeah. We do that a lot.
But I remember talking to you at some point, and you were like, wait, there was a second after credit scene? Because the mid-credit scene is the Guardians one.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't know what it is.
Okay, cool.
All right, so I guess we'll do that.
You'll be surprised. You'll get to see the actual ending of the movie.
All kinds of things in this video that I don't know, or that I don't know well. This is going to be real nitpicky, and I'm going to try to find a way to articulate this, Eric. There's something weird to me about... I guess I don't know. I'm just about consistency a lot. It's weird to me that you have the intertitle on the screen that tells you where we are, and that we're doing it with realms and with city names the same way. I don't know. I would find some way to stylize that a little differently, I think.
Doesn't bug me. Because...
I'm not even saying it's a problem. I'm just saying if it were me, I think I would have done that differently.
Because we always play... Yeah, well, I would have made maybe the realms...
I think the fonts are actually a little different, but I might have made them even more distinct. I don't know. It's just a thing that I thought of, and I don't have anything to say about this movie, so I'm bringing things up that come to mind.
He's a British actor for British TV. I think he's on the IT Crowd or something.
It's really hard... retroactively, not to think that the big misstep in this movie is to even bring Jane Foster back at all.
They shouldn't have brought Darcy back. And I think she's adorable, and I've totally got a thing for her. She should not have come back for this movie. That's a mistake.
Why?
Because she doesn't need to be here, and she doesn't serve this movie in any way, and people didn't like her the first time.
Kind of has her own supporting cast, like... I'm just saying, like, just don't have Jane Foster. Just don't even do this stuff.
Yeah.
Because,
but they feel like they have to because the end of the first movie, he's looking off to watch. He's asking.
It would be. So, I get that, but it would be so easy to write that out. It wasn't compelling in the first movie. She's a real. She's a real standard love interest-y kind of character, and the most of those in these movies. And I don't dislike her. I'm indifferent. And
they didn't see...
Thor has a really interesting supporting cast in Asgard that we haven't gotten to develop, and that we're still not going to develop enough. And his link to Earth is not interesting enough to me right now to do another movie about that when we haven't really explored the realms.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like...
Or bring her to the realms.
Yes. Don't do anything on Earth.
Yeah.
Or you do have to
start
where you get her...
And then bring... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I resist saying these kinds of things because it sounds like I just want a different movie. If this was more compelling and I enjoyed it more, right, but I want to take movies on their own terms, of course. And so I want... So I want this movie to convince me that like it would be cool to do this stuff. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, and like that's the thing is like this is.
It still feels like cost-cutting measures, like we said with Thor.
Well, and this movie doesn't feel like, oh well, you know, if you change like a couple of things like this could be a really enjoyable movie. I don't think it is. I think this entire movie is a mistake. Not every decision, but like the majority of the decisions of this film, I think are just the wrong decisions. I think. The only criticism that they took from the first film was...
And that happened.
That there's not enough action.
Yeah.
Because people did not like the humor or didn't love the humor. They don't fix that. They keep they. In many ways, this is that first film, especially humor-wise, turned up to 11.
It's too consistently, it's too tonally consistent with all the stuff we didn't care for in the first film.
Yeah, and it builds on that stuff and makes it more. Oh, people complain about Darcy. I didn't complain about Darcy, but people complain about Darcy. We're gonna give her a sidekick. She's Jane Foster's sidekick. We're gonna give her a sidekick.
And I don't feel like.
Something was a normal person, he's going to be a crazy person.
Yeah, it doesn't come off to me like that was all a reaction to the negativity. It feels like we ignored it.
I think the only thing that they paid attention to negativity was.
It's just the way you said that. It's almost like it's like it's vindictive or something. I don't think it's that.
That's how I mean. I mean, it seems like the only criticism that they paid attention to was not enough action.
Yeah,
and on Earth too much. Which
I don't think this stuff is passive aggressive. I think they're looking at Thor and they're just going like, we have to do the next chapter of that.
Yeah,
and we're just not adjusting for the stuff that didn't work
because we don't need Darcy. We don't need Selvig back. Like, we just need Jane Foster if that's his link to Earth, and you can take her. If the first movie was Thor experiencing her world, the second movie should be her experiencing his world.
And if there's an argument to be made that this is a really interesting triad, and we just didn't do anything with the first movie, fine. Then like
no, because my immediate counter argument was like, well, yeah, you did have an interesting triad. They're called the Warriors 3.
Well, what I was
going to
say is,
with them.
Then at the very least, bring all 3 of them to Asgard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just saying. I really think that you could have convinced us. That you could have made us fall in love with some of these characters.
I was really in awe of that.
I don't dislike Selvig. I mean, I like him more than the other two.
I don't like him in this movie, though.
No, I don't like him in this movie either. But that scene where they're in that trailer and drinking together is really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
and where he's talking about, I guess that's the scene where he's talking about Banner. I didn't know he was talking about Banner, but apparently he's talking about.
Well,
Banner.
and somebody said that he's not talking about Banner. He's talking about Pym, but that seems way too early to be talking about Pym.
Oh, well, then maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
When the truck flips, I remember in the theater when I saw the trailer, I was like, "That's really cool." I think it's a really cool effect because it's a real truck. It's not digital. They just pick it up on a crane and turn it. That's really cool. All of this is the Animatrix.
It is. I was just about to say that same thing.
Well, I'm sorry for stepping on your point, but
no.
They clearly watched the Animatrix.
That's what it is. Yeah. That's the one vignette I legitimately really like in that.
I like the detective one. I don't like that vignette.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like it has nothing to do with the Matrix. I don't know.
I liked it as a story.
Yeah, there's a couple of those that I don't think I like.
They're just okay stories, but it's not a great Matrix thing. But
I remember liking the Runner one.
Oh yeah, you know what, that one is pretty decent too. Yeah, I haven't seen those in years.
Me either, and I didn't like it as a piece, and I didn't. I remember.
Yeah, I don't think it
remember
works
just
as a
not really
piece.
caring it or caring about it. And like whenever you do anthology, it's hit or miss.
I just feel like a lot of that is too much against like the flavor of the Matrix.
Yeah. Why would you throw your car keys?
Why would you throw your car keys? That's ridiculous. There's always the one stupid person that when they find something like that, they have to lose something they need.
Is anyone actually that stupid? Like,
yeah, I wouldn't think so.
I've met dumb people. I don't think they would throw their car keys.
You're so curious and you have such a sense of wonder about you that you're just throwing whatever you can find into the vortex. Because, yes, that is the Animatrix, but let's remember that there are plenty of we found a vortex or a portal, where does it lead?
But it's not just the portal.
Yeah.
It's that everything's weird here.
No,
because the truck turns and, like, physics are different in this one spot.
I just brought that up so that it doesn't sound like I'm acting like this is
no, the portal thing is fine. It's that
this is a hilarious. But what I'm saying is, I didn't when I said like the cliche of the person that throws the thing in. Mm-hmm. No, that is a thing that happens a lot.
Yeah. So this is all, from what I understand, kind of mandated. She didn't want to come back, and she's like, if I come back, I can't be the girlfriend. I have to be important. So they just made her physically the MacGuffin of the movie.
Oh, I forgot.
That was their way of making her important.
Yeah, this is not a problem depending on the kind of story you're telling, but we haven't had Thor on screen for so long already.
And it also feels like an excuse to bring her back.
Yeah.
It's like, well, she's the MacGuffin. And I don't care about her. I don't care about any of this. Am I supposed to think this is all real cool and like be really... I saw this shot in Hellboy. Like, I'm not impressed.
And all this stuff that she's exploring right now, this would all have worked out real differently if she was in constant contact with Thor, which she should be, if they fixed the Bifrost.
Yeah, no, she has every right to be angry now. Hey, I like H.R. Giger too.
Yeah, there's just not any character reason that he hasn't gone and seen her, unless he tries to explain it, and I don't remember.
I don't think it does. That didn't look good. That looked like an early 2000s effect.
Really?
Yeah, it looked like the mask in Lost in Space, which I guess is a
late 90s.
Yeah, just the way it went. Shh. It didn't feel like it was it clearly wasn't a physical drop.
Well, no, it's CG, but I thought it looked okay.
I don't know, something wrong. Maybe
I wasn't
frame rate's a
looking
little off. I
as
don't know.
Closely as you were.
But we're clearly looking at like H.R. Giger for that. Like this, that's just all Giger. I like that the Dark Elves masks. I think they're horrifying because they just have black eyes.
Yeah,
and they're just like that solid face. I like those design wise. I think they are effectively scary.
And I guess we could have made this if we wanted to, for some reason, play Malekith this way and make it, all about like a really menacing villain. I mean, Malekith is really menacing, but I mean like conventionally menacing, where he's like a creepy nightmare creature, as opposed to a sadistic guy that's like smiling and laughing all the time, like Malekith is.
Joker.
Yeah, which is what he's supposed to be. Thank you. I guess we could have made this like an origin for him, where he gets to that place where he eventually looks like.
Well, we will burn half of his face.
Yeah, exactly. We could have turned him into that character and brought him back, and we don't do anything with it.
And his face isn't burned, right? He just has the black and white cookie face. Like, it's just that's how he looks.
That's how he looks.
Why does that need?
I don't know why. I don't know why that needs an origin. And I'm not saying that that's what I would have wanted, but I'm just saying we could have at least got him to comic book Malekith, and we didn't do that either. And
it's not like
they always say it doesn't have to be just like the source material, but this is just dull. There's nothing to it.
It's not like the exposure to like all of this grand cosmic stuff like drives him mad. Like that could be a thing if like he was getting crazier over the course of the film.
Yeah. I would love to see Malekith as a villain for Guardians. I mean, there's a lot of places you could put him that's not Thor.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is there would be you put him up against Thor, and it's a missed opportunity not to have traditional Malekith going up against Thor, but you could turn him into something closer to that, and then put him in somebody else's movie. I mean, that'd be really interesting, and kind of do what we did with Loki, and put him somewhere else.
I don't like this whole thing with Jane Foster because I don't think this movie is weird enough to earn this. This is more of.
Oh, and I guess we do take her to Asgard, don't we?
We do,
but the whole thing doesn't stay in the realms.
But she goes to like nowhere and experiences like it's real trippy conceptually. Like she goes somewhere that isn't there, and like there's this thing, and she
not capital K nowhere, but nowhere.
Yeah. No, but like she goes.
We do have a place called Nowhere.
She goes to like nowhere, and she experiences these things. And, like it feels like real, like 70s Marvel comics, like real weird, trippy stuff. And I don't feel like this movie ever does that again. Because like I can't explain to you what just happened to her, but I don't have that problem with anything else in the movie. On like a metaphysical level of just like when we do those comic book things where it's just like cosmic awareness, things like that. I don't know. This movie is far more straightforward for the rest of the film.
Yeah, good point. And that would have gotten us ready for the trippy Doctor Strange stuff.
Yeah. If somebody walked through a thing and ended up in nowhere, and there was a thing and it merged with it and like exist and like and like that's fine in Doctor Strange. It's fine in Thor too, but this movie will never go to that place again. That's weird to me. Because I like things like that. That's the Morrison of it all. Where?
So let's see if
where did you look?
Right? It was destroyed.
Oh.
And there's chaos. You couldn't show up for 5 seconds? No, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
This is such an obnoxious movie trope. We do this kind of thing all the time.
When he was in New York, he could have popped by and been like, hey...
We even know that they cordoned her off for some reason because they thought she was somehow more endangered than anyone else was. And
that was Loki. But
oh, okay. So yeah, was that the thing? Okay.
That's my assumption.
Okay.
But, like, he could have, while he was in New York, before he went back, been like, hey, by the way...
Actually, that makes sense.
I've got to go deal with some stuff. I will be back. Don't worry about me. I'm going to be back. Right now, everything's a mess. And why is everything a mess? Why is Bifrost being broken make everything a mess?
Because
is it because I don't think because Odin's not ruling. Yeah, Odin's not king of all of the realms.
Yeah, so that's real sloppy and oversimplified. Oh, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And also, Thor seems like he's really taking advantage of her there. I think. Where I haven't...
It seems like he didn't really miss her.
I haven't even bothered to come see you, as sad as I was at the end of that last movie, and then you sort of bought my excuse, because I guess we decided to write you kind of dumb in this scene, because I wouldn't have bought that. I mean, come for 5 seconds and say something to me. Yeah, and then he gets to kiss her? I mean, I realize it doesn't happen, but it would have, and... No, like... She should be like, no, we don't really have a relationship.
Yeah. I'm sure you have psychics mentally talk to me like something.
Yeah, there were all kinds of ways he could have given her that information.
Yep.
Can't wait to write about this.
Well, and
that'll be fun.
And she's supposed to be like trying to move on, like dating other guys, but not really wanting to do it because she's still hung up on Thor, but she shouldn't be.
Yeah. And then you run the risk of making it look really superficial, where it's like, well, what she misses about him is that he's a hunk and he comes from another
But that is what
realm,
she misses about him.
Yeah, and that she's a scientist and this is what she's always been looking for, and he is the personification of...
Wouldn't that be an interesting story to tell?
Yeah.
If you're doing a relationship movie... Do you actually like me, or do you think, are you fascinated by this?
Yeah, and am I the personification of like your life's work?
Yeah, that would be an interesting place to take their relationship and something to deal with if you want to keep doing a relationship movie.
Yeah, but all that stuff seems real obligatory. I do like that they have their own language. That's kind of cool.
Is probably the guy that did the Game of Thrones languages. Do you know about that guy?
No.
Oh, there's a guy. That's his job. He just makes languages, and he's real good at it, and he can do it like that.
Sure.
He's done a bunch of them. Like, Game of Thrones is the big one I know him for, but he's done, like, a lot of TV shows and movies. How do you feel about this thing that is not a comic book thing, where, like, the Infinity Gems are all gems. In the movies, they're whatever we want them to be until we put them in gem form, because this is a gem. What is this?
Oh, this is supposed to be a gem?
Yeah, that's the big reveal, is that it's a gem.
Oh.
It's the red one.
Oh.
Because if you remember, at the end, they take it to the collector.
It seems like a really easy way to try to connect up all of our movies. Where retroactively, like, we make up a thing in our story, and then on, like, a rewrite, or like, on, like, another pass or something, we go, oh, we need gems, and so we make that a gem. It kind of makes it feel like not only are the most powerful things in the universe those gems, but, like, those are the only things that are really powerful.
That is a problem right now with the Marvel Universe, is that everything has to be a gem, so right now everything feels real small.
Yeah, it's like it all came from the same place.
Yeah.
And it also seems kind of convenient that we keep finding them in the movies that are all going to connect. Like, in the stories that we're telling that are all going to connect up.
I mean, you have to do it somehow.
Somehow, yeah.
But...
Well, yeah, I mean, I want to praise them for having them there and trying to come up with some kind of a way to connect them up. Like I like that idea, kind of, but I feel like you could find a less contrived or convenient way to have them there, and the fact that they're all something else does...
Well, what I wanted, and what I thought they would do, maybe, after Avengers, after we see Thanos, I was like, oh, we'll just do Thanos' quest as end credit scenes. And we'll just have him go around, and we'll have like a
But it still would have seemed easy that every time a new superhero pops up, there's also a gem there.
Well, no, what I mean is, it wouldn't be connected to the movie. We would just have these end credit scenes where Thanos goes and gets a gem somewhere.
Wouldn't you want them to have something to do with the movie, though?
No! I would love it if they did, like, a Thanos backup story, like a 2 to 5 minute Thanos backup story in the middle of the credits, where we went and saw Thanos get a gem. I don't know. That's what I wanted. But this is also in the point where we think that Avengers 2 will be Thanos. We don't even know that Avengers 2 isn't Thanos.
That's right. Yeah, that's been a real weird slow burn.
Yeah.
That we're taking as long as we are to even get to Thanos. And I'm sure it will be wonderful and worth the wait.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's exciting that they're in the middle of filming that now, and
I do want to know what they do next.
Yeah.
Like, because we've made everything built around the gem.
It doesn't feel like there's any plans after
that. Yeah, we built everything around these specific
Can you think
objects.
of one thing we know that they're doing past Infinity War besides...
No. Besides the weird shifting in humans movie.
Isn't which isn't a movie now, it's a TV show. No, we know about that.
But I thought the TV show was supposed to be like a lead up to the film.
I don't think we know that for sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure why you do that at this point, given that show's pilot is also kind of a movie that they're putting in theaters. I'm not really sure why you would do a movie after that. But yeah, that might end up happening. That's a good point. But all the movies that we know are they all coming before Infinity War comes out? Or
when they announced it,
is Captain Marvel post that?
Because remember it's 2 movies. Originally it was part 1, part 2, but now it's Infinity War and Avengers something else.
Right.
There are movies that are going to be set between the 2 of them.
Okay. I just couldn't remember if all the movies we knew of were before that first Avengers.
No, there are some that will happen in between.
Right? Avengers movie, yeah.
Which is why I really want, and I won't get it. I really want that first movie to end with the half of the universe being murdered, and then doing 2 movies of dealing with it. Like Captain Marvel has to become a superhero because all the superheroes are gone.
Yeah, that's cool.
That would be so cool. Do it like a comic book event. We're like, oh, there's repercussions in the other films because we're in the middle of a story. They won't do it because they said they're 2 standalone films, but
yeah, and it's nice, and it would be really cool if we had a whole phase where we had this new weird status quo that we had to deal with in different people's movies.
Yeah,
we have done that in a smaller kind of.
Looks like Ultron.
In a small kind of microcosm with the Hydra reveal, where that has kind of affected things a little bit. We're we know we live in a different world now.
Yeah.
Once we have that, and so that's cool. It doesn't change the stories in massive, big, broad sweeping ways, really. But that's not exactly what we're talking about. But I'm just saying that we're at least thinking along those terms to some degree. I'd like to think eventually maybe we could get to a place like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now the big question is, what is that second Avengers movie? Because they have to be thinking of where they're going. And I think that still could end up being a Thanos thing, even if it's not Infinity.
Yeah.
But you know what I want? I want it to be Dormammu Galactus. That's
not very Doctor Strange.
That's his name now. Oh, why not? Why can't you have a Dormammu story where everybody has to go up against him?
Because that's what we set up for the sequel. I guess not.
What we really set up was Mordo.
Yeah, we
set up Carl. Right. Mm-hmm. There's a sitcom in there. Yeah, the scene is great. We're not talking about this movie at this point.
He's great in this scene.
He's great in this movie. I mean,
there's a moment that I genuinely love in this movie. One moment. It's not the Captain America joke, although that one is fun. There's one moment in this movie that I genuinely love, and we will get to it. Is the mother thing set up in the first movie? I don't feel like I got the impression he genuinely is he's not like a mother's boy. There's no connection. She's barely in that first movie.
It feels really weird when suddenly she's important. And yeah, I want to flesh these characters out some, but I would have liked to have known about that relationship in the first place. It's not exactly this, but it's almost like when you get to Superman 2 and all of a sudden you're dealing with you're dealing with Laura instead of Jor-El.
Yeah.
There's reason for that. But.
So this is, I can't believe this because Marvel Studios is better than this. This is an Align the Planets plot.
Yep.
Why?
It's
Align the Planets
is
I'm writing a movie on sci-fi. Like,
yeah. It's the most obvious place to go.
And why do we never make fun of that?
And that's the image we get when we open this film.
You're right. Why don't we make fun of that?
You mean in this movie?
No, in movies. I feel like that's not a thing I see parodied often. It's just, we just keep using it. No one's talking about how the planets align all the time.
And we are starting to make fun of swirling vortex of doom.
Yeah,
like, we made fun of that in the Lego movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Lego Batman movie. Lego Batman has a swirling vortex about 40 minutes in. They don't even kind of wait for the third act. It's great.
I feel like we talked about this in another movie. I thought there was another movie, the commentary too, that had the planets aligning thing, but like
Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
Maybe.
I probably made this. I might have made this point in another moment, but like, based on how often I see the planets align, that has to be a yearly occurrence. Like, it just constantly in movies. Oh, the planets are going to.
Well, there's.
I mean, to be fair, these are not our planets.
No, it's not Howard the Duck because you said that like last week or something.
Was it Ghost Rider?
Maybe it was. Yeah, it was Ghost Rider. Yeah,
Ghost Rider.
That's what it was.
But yeah, it's a thing. I mean, these are not the planets. They're the 9 realms, but it's still just as bad.
Maybe it's not here. I remember there being. I think it was something in this cell where he was projecting something, and it's a big.
There is, and that's the.
I thought that was the moment you were talking about, but I don't remember right off what exactly it is.
We will get to it. It's the one great thing.
But I remember that being like an oh wow moment,
mm-hmm.
And that it was maybe even a little bit chilling, but I can't remember what it was, or was it just sad?
It's sad. So
all the costumes and monsters look fine. I like that as much of this is practical costuming as it is, and that not too much of this is CG or CG enhanced. I like that that's just a guy in a suit.
So they have magic and unlimited access to the cosmos, and their jail cells are the jail cells from every sci-fi movie ever, where it's just an electrical force field.
Yeah.
Real thoughtful, creative. I like it.
That's a good point.
It's unique and different.
Yeah, now I'm getting flashbacks to Descent from TNG, which has a really goofy thing with breaking out of a force field brig that has to do with Geordi's visor and just no.
This is a thing that annoys me. I talked about it a little bit with Doctor Strange. This is a thing that annoys me about fantasy and magic in film. We just make science fiction movies and say it's magic. Like, we don't actually think about new cool things to do and different weird things because it's magic. It's just like, it's a force field. Oh, it's a knob that just turns channels to different locations. Like, it's really all science fiction ideas that we're just saying, well, it's magic. Like, we're not
well, we're not even saying
creative.
It's magic here because it actually is technology. I like that they have advanced technology. I think you can blend it. I think you can have things that look more magical.
Yeah.
But when he says in the first movie, I live in a place where they're one and the same, no, that's just technology. It's
yeah.
I'm not having a difficult time imagining how you do that.
It's just energy.
And you guys don't even have things that they have in Star Trek. You guys don't even have replicators and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I just wish
your technology's not that advanced.
I wish that we wouldn't be so lazy with magic and fantasy. And obviously this is advanced technology, but like, it's still fantasy. I wish we were more creative.
Yeah, exactly. Creative is the operative word. We're not real thoughtful in this movie at all, and not just with the character stuff we were talking about, but we just seem to be kind of lazy in contriving situations. And
it's just a generic near future with a Nordic aesthetic.
But yeah, I can't believe. I mean, maybe the word we should be throwing around right now is lame. I just can't believe you do the typical like you said, like, weekly sci-fi show. Oh, you break the thing on the wall and all the cells go down.
Mm-hmm. This is I remember thinking this is weird. He can't see the ships, but then he can before they go visible, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
Like, he gets a sense, if I remember correctly, he gets a sense something's wrong. He can't see that ship is there, but then, like, he can, or something. I don't remember. That's just the Golden Gate Bridge.
All of a sudden, it's
the
real
he
Golden
can't see
Gate.
it.
That's just...
Okay, I guess he could see. I don't remember. I remember having a problem with this scene, but I don't recall what it is.
One thing that's kind of disappointing is that I feel like this script is actually being executed better than the material.
Yeah, this is not a case of...
It looks better than the first movie by a lot. I mean, like, there's been a little bit of shoddy green screen here and there, but for the most part, it looks like a big step. And I remember in the theater thinking that the spectacle was pretty good. This all looks wonderful.
Yeah.
I thought we really stepped up the spectacle. And again, this is not just a matter of, oh, the technology got better. This is only a couple of years after.
Mm-hmm. Well, but they do probably have significantly more money.
Oh, okay, sure. But it still feels like there's more of an effort.
Yeah. At least on the technical side.
Thor, I wasn't sure it was all just a matter of we don't have the money to really make it look like we want to. I felt like we could have been smarter and a little bit more minimal if that was you know a problem. Like you don't have things like that big hall scene at the beginning where it just doesn't look like very much of it's there. Like even when you know it's all CG, it still looks more like it's there. See, this that's feels like more a Star Wars scene to me.
Yeah, but that ship design. I'm
probably saying that because of sound effects, but.
Where it's like a Nordic vessel that has like cannons on it. That's cool. The Dark Elves should also be like that. They should not be generic sci-fi ships. You're making a science fiction fantasy film. You need to have your fantasy stuff in it too.
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't want to go organic again because we just did that with the Chitauri, but
we didn't for like all their technology and stuff. Like that would have been a cool aesthetic if it was like techno-organic. Like that would be cool. Here it's just... Episode 7 could have had these exact same ships, and you wouldn't have thought twice. It would fit just as well there.
Yeah. I guess they do have to be spacefaring vessels. I was going to say you could just make them creatures. I guess they can't really be that. Because, again, we had spacefaring creatures in Avengers. You probably don't want to do that again.
It would be cool if there were big creatures that like, you could like live inside and like worked as both a ship and a big monster. I still
say that building looks like a pipe organ. And I really like that.
And like this is just a sci-fi like interior.
Yeah.
That could have been the interior in the Star Trek movie. Like I don't know. I want more fantasy in this. It's real science fiction and not in a good way.
And I still say I don't mind that Thor tried to find a way to make the fantasy elements fit within the world that they had already. I don't mind that idea. I don't mind that it's not really magic, we just don't understand it. I don't know if there's a point of contention between us. I don't mind that. I think that's fine.
No, I don't mind that. I mind it a little bit in Doctor Strange, because I don't actually think they gave us magic, but I don't mind that here. You're doing fantasy and you're doing science fiction, but it feels like you don't actually know what fantasy is. And so, it's just a Star Wars ship. It's just standard, traditional... You've seen this 1,000 times, science fiction ideas.
But it's also not like you're big sci-fi buffs and you prefer to make a sci-fi movie, so you're making a science fiction movie. Yeah. Because if we did that, I don't know that you complain as much about it.
No, not at all.
Like, if we made a great science fiction movie out of Thor...
No, that's fine.
Okay, that's updated mythology.
But you're trying to do both, and you're doing both badly.
Yeah, and like what we were seeing in the olden days with Norse mythology was people writing down a mythology based on just how they could perceive it, and it actually turns out that it's all technology.
Yeah. No, if this was a good science fiction film, I wouldn't be complaining. My issue is, it feels lazy. It feels like a bunch of people saw Star Wars.
Because I really like the idea of... And,
Star Trek 09.
We understand science now, so maybe if the Greek and Norse gods, etc., were real, there's actually more we would understand about it.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't seem as impossible or whimsical or, and you can make a movie about how once we understand that stuff more, it takes away the mystique of it.
Yeah.
And I do think we could do, because we've been doing this a lot in the comics lately, especially at Marvel, I really think these movies could be doing more with perceived godhood.
Yeah.
I really wish we would do more with that kind of thing. And again, in this day and age, it would be different if Thor shows up, and especially if there's other people with powers, people wouldn't necessarily worship him. But what would some third world countries look at him as?
Well, and this is a thing that I don't think Marvel has ever dealt with on a level. It's kind of like
do more of you should be worshiping, which I guess Loki kind of does in Avengers some.
Well, but it's kind of like
it's not about how the world changed.
There are certain issues that comic book universes, DC and Marvel, inherently have. One of them is space technology. We're real inconsistent. Sometimes they have advanced technology because, of course, they would. We have aliens on the planet all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just NASA.
Well, and you would need advanced. You're just talking about us.
Yeah,
the technology we have.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay.
In comic books,
I was saying because aliens would have to faster than light travel is hard.
But like in
and as far as we know, not possible for matter. Although that we don't know for sure.
Well,
if
we
that
don't
can actually
ever
be done,
acknowledge that rule in science fiction or in traditional adventurous science fiction.
Oh, every now and again, but we will be smart about it. But yeah. What we do in Star Trek.
Do we?
Well, yeah, because I explained this to you before. It's not FTL. It's not faster than light.
Right.
It's folding space. Okay, he is doing that jump a lot.
Well, it was real cool, so they just kept doing it.
Okay.
It's like lens flares.
Doesn't he have one of those jumps in Avengers?
I think he has one in Age of Ultron.
Is his costume different from Avengers? It is a little bit, right?
It's bluer.
There was something about it aesthetically that I like better in this.
And the chest piece is a little different, I think.
Yeah.
The chest piece is a little bit different, and the scales are blue.
I also think that Odin
have
has
a blue hue.
A matching eye patch to the rest of his outfit. I don't think he had that in the first movie.
No, he did.
Oh, did he?
Well, he had the golden eye patch.
Did he have a golden eye patch? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm only just now noticing it, maybe because we're watching it on a larger screen.
But in comics, we have existed 10 to 15 years, whatever the sliding time scale is, where aliens are coming to Earth all the time. You have people like Reed Richards and Tony Stark. You wouldn't have NASA like we have NASA.
No, it would be different.
But you have to keep
so inconsistent.
You have to keep it looking like the world that you're in, except for
it wouldn't
when you don't want to.
So different.
Religion is the same way.
Yeah.
If Thor exists, that changes everything.
Shouldn't we deal more with trade?
What do you mean?
If you had aliens coming to and from all the time, you would have relationships with other cultures.
The problem is that it has to keep reflecting our world, and it shouldn't.
Even Men in Black deals with that.
Yeah. This should be sad, but she was not in that first movie. And we got a little bit with her and Loki, and so like the only reason that you'd be sad is because Loki's going to be sad.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's going to be real convincing.
Yeah.
But we're not in his head enough. I mean, we are, but we didn't get to experience that relationship enough.
Jane's just standing there next to Thor with this deadpan face, and like in her head, it's like,
I don't want to be in this movie.
I just wanted to be with this guy, and now his mom's dead. I'm gonna have to deal with that. I didn't want to deal with it. I just want to hang out with the cool space Viking. Ugh. I really understand the mind of women. I can get in there, and I know how they think.
Women that are really that are traditionally shallow, and yeah. In some ways. And people talk about the Thor movies as kind of the bastard stepchildren of the Marvel movies. And this movie, at least, I feel like kind of is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is the worst movie they've done.
I feel like already, just up to this point, I feel like even at this point, it would be difficult to salvage some of the just really typical dull and like, again, nonsensical explanations for things. But anyway, in some ways these movies feel like mid-2000s growing pains superhero movies.
They also feel like
they're not that far away from some of that stuff we were reviewing early on, the Daredevils and the Ghost Riders. And
it feels kind of like Superman. They don't know how to do it. They can't figure out how to get this material.
Which is so weird because of how much of an understanding we've had about Captain America, and it's different people making these movies, of course, but what's weird is this movie is made by a different set of people than the first movie, and ironically, with Winter Soldier being the very next movie, that is the very next movie, I think, Winter Soldier, one of the great things, one of the things that it nails, and I've never seen before yet, is it's a sequel that is in an entirely different genre, and enhances that first movie and makes it a better film in some ways. And this movie could have done that. You know, and maybe not a different genre exactly, but like what I'm saying is a whole new team comes on and they can do their own movie and still serve the original material or not get too far away from it or whatever. I just think it's really weird that the next movie is also a sequel to a first movie that like goes its own way and is made by different people. Why do we feel so beholden to that initial material is the question I'm asking.
I don't know.
But it does look really different.
It does.
This is a real different experience.
Yeah.
But everything it's doing wrong is, as you were suggesting earlier, dialing the things that don't work about the first movie up to 11.
And then all the new things you're bringing are real generic, stereotypical fantasy science fiction stuff.
I understand to a degree, as much as I loathe this movie, I understand to a degree how that happened with Revenge of the Fallen, because that movie was by and large really liked, the first one.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happens with a thing like this.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you know, because like we took that humor that a lot of us resisted in the first Transformers, and we made a movie out of it, and that's why people don't like Revenge of the Fallen. The Fallen, besides the pacing issues and desert robot fights, but like it's really easy when you're making that movie to look at the at least public perception of Transformers and go, people like what we did.
Yeah.
And then you just make more of that.
Yeah.
And if your sensibilities are those more kind of crude humor stuff, then you're liable to dial that up. There's no excuse here. The same people made those movies.
Yeah. Yep. And that movie,
now I don't know who wrote this versus who wrote the first movie.
That movie had the writer's strike excuse. I think. Okay. I might blow your mind.
Is this the same writing team?
I don't know.
Because if it's a totally different team, I don't understand this movie.
I might blow your mind. I think it might be the same writers as Winter Soldier.
But they don't have the Russos behind them.
Yeah, yeah. And we've talked about that before, that the Russos are really hands-on directors, even on the script.
But see, that's a mistake, because those are such different kinds of movies. Maybe they get one, and were excited about one, and didn't get the other. You need to love this kind of material. Because this, much more so, I think, than something like Winter Soldier, is not necessarily for everybody.
Well, and
so it feels like we're trying too hard to make these things accessible. Kind of.
Well, and it's a mixture of fantasy and science fiction.
Oh well, I like that he says that. I like that he asks how he's different from Malekith.
I misremembered that line for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Matt and I used to quote that each other all the time. We thought that was one of his yelling lines, and the way I could picture it in my head
is it because he yelled right before it?
Yeah, and the way I picture it in my head, I can still picture it, is Thor says, "What's the difference between you and him?" And he just turns and just goes, "I win," and doesn't say that. Like, I thought it was inexplicable, like, doesn't happen.
Okay.
But I can still picture it. It's still in my memory. I remember it.
I remember you doing that a lot after that movie.
It was so funny.
I don't know what he's doing.
I do it.
I still don't know why we're supposed to think that's funny. I do like that that Darcy. I do like that exchange she has right before this that we talked over, where she's like, where she's like, everyone's not calling me back. Stupid Shield's not calling me back. What Shield? It's a secret. I think that's pretty funny.
No, that is funny.
And I also like that she's so superfluous that the movie made a scene about how superfluous she is. No one's calling me! Yeah, you don't have any reason to be in this movie, but at least you're still kind of funny. Now, I remember finally deciding that some people will write about her at the end of this, but I can't remember why. I feel like there's some things that that make her irritating by the end of this movie.
She says Mew Mew for Mjolnir, but I thought that was...
No, she did that in the first movie.
Well, she says that in this one, too.
No, I know. But I was like that.
Yeah, I think
they're not going to change my mind on that. That's just consistent. She's just said, no, it's meow meow. That's why it's funny. She thinks the hammer is the sound a cat makes. It's great. I don't care who you are. That's funny.
It's not a double Pokemon.
Some people don't think it's funny. I think it's funny. No, it's just a cat making sounds.
But what we were saying before about the material, and about needing to get people excited about the material.
Ooh, look at those contacts.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I still wish they'd do the thing that they do with Straczynski's run, where his eyes are just like a star field, but...
yeah, I'm with you. But that does look cool.
Yeah, no, it looks cool. Although, I don't know why you'd throw contacts on him. He already has the most piercing eyes.
Yeah, and I recognize him more when you give him, like, golden eyeballs. Something about his performance in Spirit of Vengeance, we were like, I mean, I know that's Idris Elba, but it feels like it's not Idris Elba, and I don't understand. Because we don't have prosthetics, he's just there.
This is the one great scene that I genuinely love.
Yeah, I know there's a facade here, I just can't remember what exactly it is. I get to experience it for the first time, Eric. Like it's the first time. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's great.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Oh, he's bleeding on his feet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And Loki gets to these kinds of places in the comics. Why couldn't we have looked at Malekith? I don't understand.
But we're talking about being excited about this material.
How is this character this layered in this movie? It really feels like we got like two writers, and one person is thinking, and the other person is plugging in for a formula.
Or they just get Loki. They looked at the first movie, they looked at Avengers, we were like, oh, we know how to write this character.
Okay, but wasn't there some Whedon influence on this movie? I feel like we've had this conversation.
He writes...
script something.
He scripts the Captain America scene.
Is that all it is, though?
Yeah, because they went back and reshot this and added some humor, and that was one of the scenes they added.
Okay.
But talking about the...
Sorry.
About the excited about this property, because a lot of people are bringing on...
I'm gonna get comfortable.
They're not comic book people. They're not really comic book people. They might go familiarize themselves with the material after they get brought on the project, but
sure.
like, they're not long-time comic fans, and that's fine. The problem is, it seems like in Hollywood, there are not fantasy and science fiction fans, unless it is Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. Those are the only two things anyone will name. Like, how often do you
And that's just because they're so popular in film.
Yeah. How often do you hear about people making fantasy film, talk about fantasy novels?
Yeah.
Or science fiction novels? Like, why aren't you... Like, where are those people? Why aren't they making movies? Stop giving fantasy films to people that have watched Lord of the Rings, and that's it.
Yeah.
Give it to someone who's been reading this genre and loves this genre and wants to see it on film. And I don't understand.
I think a really good, versatile writer can fall in love with that, and then they don't have to have those kinds of qualifications where they just go, oh, I've never really been into fantasy, but I'm looking at it because I'm making because they tap me to make this movie, and then they give you an authentic fantasy film. I think that happens.
Yeah. It happens with science fiction, more so than fantasy, but it happens with science fiction.
Absolutely, yeah. But
I mean, look at Into Darkness.
But why don't we look for of course, yeah. That's the definitive
science film of our generation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the definitive example. But I think Beyond might have been that way a little bit. Well,
Simon Pegg's a science fiction
fan. Not with the writing, with the directing. Well, no, actually not there either, because Lynn is a huge Star Trek fan, and he proved it the way he made that movie.
Yeah.
But anyway. But that is a good thing to bring up, because there's a movie where we finally just threw our hands up in the air and said, okay, these people actually want to make this movie. I guess we'll let them make this movie.
Time Picture Thor.
Why can't... Oh, yeah. We do feel still real trepidations about specifically this material, and nothing else in Marvel. Nothing else feels like we're tiptoeing around the material. Mm. Even if you don't like the direction they go with one, you know, like... Even Ant-Man. You know, we made a heist comedy. That's what Ant-Man comics are. Mm-hmm. And you go... I mean, they're not always heist, but...
They're not always comedy, but it's a take.
Yeah. And it's one that is in the comics some. And then... but more importantly, that is a C-list superhero. Mm-hmm. And they put it on camera, and they made it a C-list superhero. And they didn't even try to make it...
In this film and the previous film, no one making this movie had a take.
Yeah. Beyond... Okay, let's take the risk of doing the costumes kind of like they look like in the comics.
Yeah.
The look is fine.
Yeah.
But the look is much better in this movie.
But that's not any of the standard creative people of, like, the writer-director. Like, that's costumers, that's set designers, that's digital effects people.
Yeah, and I'll even complain about this. As much as I like that we get to see more of Asgard in this movie, we don't really get to explore it, right? Mm-hmm.
We have no understanding of space and relativity.
No, and what the community is like. Mm-hmm. Not really. We got the royalty. I'd like to see more of what's on the ground.
Yeah,
you know, I'd like to see a little bit more of it. What are the peasants like? Like,
he's not Boulder.
What now?
He's not Boulder. Like, he is not that character at all.
Oh, is that guy supposed to be Boulder?
Yeah, that's Boulder.
I didn't know that. I didn't think Boulder was even in this.
Yeah. Well, the Warriors 3, like, pretend to be in this movie, so...
Boulder's not part of the Warriors 3.
Sorry, I said Boulder, I meant Volstagg.
Volstagg,
I don't know why
I thought you were pointing to somebody behind Volstagg or something. I was really confused.
I meant Volstagg.
No, Boulder's not in these.
No, yeah.
And I want to know where he is. We just had this conversation before camera.
I meant...
Volstagg, yeah.
That's not Volstagg.
Not really. He seemed more like...
He seemed more Volstagg in the first film.
And here's what I don't get. To your point earlier when you were talking about Lord of the Rings, Gimli is Volstagg. How come we can't do that?
Yeah.
We've got a character that they're not exactly the same, but like people know Lord of the Rings. If you just cloned that character and called him Volstagg, you get a lot closer.
Yeah.
It is Gimli, right?
Yeah.
I don't know those movies.
The dwarf, well. Yes. The dark elf in
the guy
in Nordic terms. But
you know the guy that says it was deliberate, like that's you know,
it only counts as one.
Yeah.
But speaking of Lord of the Rings, and the fact that Lord of the Rings is the only fantasy movie that's ever been successful,
that's hilarious. I think you missed a column.
Lord of the Rings is a team adventure. Put Thor with the Warriors 3 and Sif and send them on an adventure.
Yes, yeah. Right after a line I loved, there was a line I groaned at.
What was the line?
Loki says, "Let me drive, or let me fly. I'm clearly the better pilot." And then Thor says, "Of the two of us, which one of us can actually fly?" There's no correlation. Being able to drive a spaceship has nothing to do with swinging a hammer and throwing it and going across the air. That's a dumb line. Yeah, actually, if Loki was giving a commentary through the entire movie, it'd be a better movie.
That's kind of funny. And we mentioned Boar earlier, so we kind of set that joke up. That wasn't bad.
See, since we're not doing more world building and character stuff, and some of that does still feel kind of rushed, I kind of want this just to be a big action movie, because the action stuff's better than a lot of, the character stuff. Or at the very least, what's most fun in this movie seems to be during the big action scenes. I think.
Well, it seems like they're the only people that care. The actors don't seem to really want to be here except for Loki. The writers aren't interested in this material. The director doesn't seem to be interested.
I don't know.
It's the visual effects people.
Yeah, I don't know that you can say that about Hemsworth.
He doesn't seem to be having as much fun here as he did in... He doesn't seem to be like living in the character as much as he does in Avengers or in
But I think
Ultron.
part of that might be just having difficulty finding that same brand of charisma when he's not supposed to be full of himself anymore. Like, it's almost like that was too light switchy, and we took him too far in a direction. Where it's like, you learn the sacrificial lesson, and now you're not fun anymore.
But I feel like he would still be fun. He'd be more fun-loving,
yeah.
And he is in the Avengers film.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying is
we've lost something, but I just
there's
think
a spark in him in the Avengers films, and it's not here in him. His performance, it's not there.
But how much of that is just because they're not giving him anything to do?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he wants to be here. I mean, he'd want to make a Thor movie. I don't think he's enjoying himself making this movie.
Are you saying that he looks like Hugh Jackman in Origins? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly. And Loki's having fun because he's the only one getting material.
Yeah.
She's literally sleeping through this movie. That looks kind of cool. I don't know why it would be purple on one side and blue on the other, but it looks cool. Oh, because it's mystical.
I bet if you took a poll, even over Incredible Hulk, this is, and as recent as this is, I think if you took a poll of random people who claimed they had seen every Marvel movie,
they'd forget about this one.
This would be the one they would forget about.
Yeah.
If you told them, list them all. So you do a survey of 100 people that claim they've seen them all. You have to find people that have seen them all, or said they saw them all. Which one would they skip?
And they might only call it Thor 2. I bet you no one remember, or that most people don't remember it's called The Dark World.
Yeah.
But they'd remember Winter Soldier, and they'd remember Civil War.
Yeah, absolutely.
They will not remember that this is called The Dark World. And I have a tendency to call this Thor 2. I call Winter Soldier Winter Soldier. I call Civil War Civil War. I call this Thor 2.
Well, Dark World is a real generic title. It's also not a great title because it's not like we're exploring the Dark World, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you basically named your movie after the villain side, and then you didn't have an interesting villain side. What are you doing?
Yeah. I guess this is not on Earth as much as I thought it was.
Yeah.
We do kind of do exactly what we said they should do, which is bring Jane.
Yeah, but third act.
Yeah. We go right back to Earth.
No, you're right. And honestly, I forgot she even went to Asgard. I don't know if you did. I forgot about that.
No, I knew she went to Asgard because I discussed
the medical scene.
No, that's not the scene I remembered.
Oh, okay. Because once we brought it up, that's the part I remembered.
The scene I remembered was Sif giving the "I don't like your girlfriend" eyes.
Oh,
and I was like, that's Sif's one moment in this movie.
I hated that in the theater.
Yeah.
But partly because I thought they were going to go love triangle, and then I hated it because Sif deserves screen time and stuff to do, and again, and I know you hate it when I bring this up, but she's so good in the 2 S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes she's in. I've seen that actress play that character well. I want some of that in these movies. Mm-hmm. Like, I know now that she's a really good actress in that part specifically. Mm-hmm. Why can't I have some stuff with her and Thor? That relationship is really important in Simonson.
I think in most Thor.
Oh, I forgot he had a son and stuff. Okay.
Wait, I thought... No, that's the intern. I think he's flying.
Oh, he's flying. Oh, okay. I don't know what happens in this movie.
I'm sure that's that easy.
Yeah. Okay, I forgot. I guess I'm just saying I forgot this character was in this movie. You make a really good argument for these characters are here because obligatorily they must be.
Because they were in the first movie. Why are we still doing things with them? I know we're going to force them into the climax of the film, but they shouldn't be. You could have forgotten these characters in the way we sometimes do forget supporting characters. No one would have missed them. No one would have asked where they were, especially because Selvig is in Age of Ultron and he's in Avengers. I call Age of Ultron. Thor 2.
Yeah, right. Yeah, nothing else
can
we do that with. Except for the Iron Man movies. We do put numbers on those.
Well, that's true, but we actually put numbers on those.
Oh, is that why? Okay. I meant to say this earlier, and I don't know
Iron Man
how much I even... No, it's a plane. It's Superman. I don't know... Sometimes I feel like I have to say a thing before I can decide if I even agree with myself or like this idea.
Yeah, I understand that.
But, what if... And I mean, this is retroactively. Obviously, you wouldn't have thought of this because they came up with this for this movie. The way we introduced Jane Foster in this movie, I almost think would have been a better way to introduce her in the first movie. I almost think the strange, mysterious hole you found that connects to the other realms could have been a really cool way to start all that in the first place.
Yeah.
Where she's studying all that stuff.
Yeah. I thought you meant on a date that she was bored by, and I was like, well, I don't know what that would have given.
No, not that.
You have to be in this movie. I know you don't want to be, but wake up.
Wake up! You're in a movie.
Oh no! And you know what's...
But yeah, cosmic hole in the middle of nowhere. That would have been a cool way to open that.
You know what's weird is that I saw an interview with Hemsworth talking about Ragnarok. And he did something that I don't like, which is he said it's going to be like Guardians, and it's coming out the same year as Guardians.
Yeah.
But it might not be Guardians, but he
might be in that by like scale or something. Was he talking about comedy when he said that?
He said fun.
Well, it should be that.
But he referred to this as, we tried the big dark epic thing, and I was like, no you didn't. It's not dark and it's not epic.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's generic.
Yeah. Hey, what happened to your cool chainmail?
He can't be trusted with it.
Do you ever notice that...
Oh, are you talking about Thor?
Yeah. Do you ever notice that comes and goes on Thor's costume?
I was like, when did Loki have chainmail?
No, that's just a thing that just comes and goes on Thor's costume. It's like, sometimes he'll have the chainmail, sometimes he won't. Sometimes he'll have a cape, and sometimes he won't. It's like scene to scene. I don't mean... Just in this movie, in Avengers, it's like Thor's costume keeps changing. I don't know what that is. Oh no! Who would have expected Loki to turn against you? We're also surprised in the theater, and then we're doubly surprised when he didn't turn against him. It's a double con.
Yeah. Oh, you still don't trust me? No, I don't. Would you? Well, I guess I'll let you.
I hate that that's an illusion. That would have been such a cool thing to do in your movie. I mean, you couldn't go forward, but...
Yeah.
And that's the moment I knew it was an illusion. I was like, oh, well, you wouldn't do that.
I mean, I guess I like the idea that Thor is, really idealistic and wants to believe that his brother can change and stuff, and that he can sympathize with what, with how Odin manipulated him and stuff. And we are, by the way, dealing more with Odin's moral ambiguity in this that I remembered. So I do appreciate that. It is a thing we're talking about some.
Oscar award-winning Natalie Portman. You called this a gift? She didn't even deserve that Oscar.
But I wouldn't have taken the chains off right then. That seemed like a mistake.
How are you doing that?
I guess they just have powers. No?
I don't. Are you connected to the Aether? What gives you the ability to control it? This is not a fantasy world. This is a science fiction world. What's going on?
Explain it. Yeah. No, I don't want to go inside her mind. I don't care. It's not going to be interesting. Oh.
I complained about the lack of creativity in Doctor Strange. This is what it would look like if they had no thoughts. I mean, this is just generic. Yeah, but I bet you they think they're being really big and weird and out there.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, if this movie was the first movie, first of all, there are things about this, of course, that are a lot better than the first film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if overall as a piece it's actually a better story.
I think it's less enjoyable watch.
It is. Somehow or rather it is. Well, Thor himself seems more generic, and that's a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
He has such a charisma in that first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, of course, it makes it more fun, and even though if you know Thor and you know Norse stuff, you know there's a lot of really interesting world building and stuff we could be doing that we're not doing. He gets you through all that dull Earthbound stuff.
Yeah, it's not even the. It's not that he's not funny in this movie. Like you're talking about, like how like he can't be funny. He doesn't have a charisma. He has a charisma.
He's got no presence.
And he did immediately.
There
in
are
the first
flashes of it, but yeah. Yeah, and that whole movie seems built around that charisma.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. I forgot we burned his face up, and we will never mention it again. He's not going to be angry at Thor for burning his face. It's not going to be a character thing. Now, that might be a cutscene that he was bummed was cut, but he now has a reason for a personal grudge against Thor, and they don't even use that opportunity. It's just like, well, he's got black white cookie face in the comics, so we'll burn half his face off.
And I feel like, because I'm remembering a little bit about this, about the ending we're left with this movie. I think, if memory serves, isn't there kind of something about, like, Thor's gone maybe a little bit too much in a stoic direction, and he's trying to find a midpoint between, like, maybe we're trying to do something with his big. I thought there was something about that. Maybe not. But that's a thing you could do, right? Where he's overcompensating now because of his sense of responsibility, and so he feels like he's becoming too much like Odin. And you could do something with that, but that's not what that's not what we're doing.
I don't remember that. Maybe that is in the ending, but I don't.
No, I'm just saying we could do that.
Yeah, we could do that. We get him to yell like Anthony Hopkins. It'd be great. Like Logan said something, and, and he was like, "Oh." And
I would love for these movies to pull some of the stuff. I don't know how you do it, but to pull some of the stuff from Jason Aaron's first arc on Thor, where we actually get to see Thor as the Allfather in the future, because that would just
the hardcover for
be the best.
One day I'll read it.
Thor Allfather is really cool. And then he goes from seeing himself as the Allfather to becoming unworthy, and that's really cool and really interesting too. But what I was going to say is, if this movie... I started making the point earlier that where I led with, if this movie somehow or rather was the first movie, and maybe there are things in this I like better than the first film, we would maybe have given it a little bit more of a pass. The deal is, we just had Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not in the growing pains years anymore. You would have expected a Thor, and I was somewhat excited about this movie because I wanted to see what a post Avengers Thor movie would be like, because we just were uncertain about this material.
Yeah.
How do we still feel like we're in that place, and like we're still plugging in for formula?
I've said before, if this film was released in 1995, it would be remembered as one of the best superhero films of all time. Mm-hmm. The problem is we raised the bar, and this didn't meet it.
Yeah.
Me personally, we had already been, and then
and Iron Man 3 too. Yeah, I mean,
I know that wasn't everybody's cup of tea, and a lot of people didn't like it. But for me personally, Iron Man 3 set a bar, Avengers set a bar.
But that's leaps and bounds above this as far as telling a story, and even pacing and just being smart movie making. Doesn't matter what your taste is. With that, I mean, some people, again, for taste, might enjoy this material more because of what they like. But I just feel like, I don't know, I resist using the word objective, but I almost want to say, like, objectively, that's a smarter script.
Than this? Oh, absolutely.
I think.
No, it's objectively a smarter script than this.
So I'm saying, that was still raising a bar.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether you like decisions or not.
Yeah.
There's better writing in that movie. And now it feels like we're kind of teasing and manipulating the audience in a way, because I don't think anybody is really going to buy into this. That, you know.
And no one seems to really like this movie. Like, I'm sure there are people that like this movie, but, like, it's, like, at the bottom of everybody's list. You talk to anybody, like, well, I've met a couple of girls who are like, well, I like the Thor movies. But, like, I don't think they actually go back to the Thor movies. Like, I think they watch them in theaters. Because I like this okay in theaters. I was like, well, it's an okay movie. It's not really bad. It's not really good. It's okay. It's
so
fine for movies to be okay. But
this is the kind of movie that the word escapist was thrown into reviews to describe, right?
Yeah. But not
besides with Loki,
escapism.
Ironically, the humanity is in Loki.
Yeah.
Makes you almost wish we just made a Loki movie.
I remember having an issue with all of this stuff. But
don't put Malekith in a movie where you're... I know you kind of said this earlier, but don't put Malekith in a movie where you're going to completely strip away everything that makes him interesting and then give me this interesting of a Loki. Like, there's no excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave him out and give me a Loki movie then. I don't care that he was just in the movie you made 2 movies ago. Just do that.
Yeah, I mean we do it with X-Men.
What do you mean?
Every X-Men movie, Magneto's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Until Apocalypse. Apocalypse is the first X-Men movie where Magneto's not the bad guy.
Or if you have to have a greater threat and it's supposed to be like an uneasy alliance, then make it a threat that doesn't have a face. Don't sort of... I mean, we're trying to pretend like Malekith is also supposed to be a sympathetic villain in this. I get that. But, like, just make it a force of nature.
Like a big, like, galactic storm, maybe?
Or something. Yeah, sure.
With, like, hints of, like
something in the middle
in it?
that might be... Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. You know, because, like, Loki could have, like, partnered with it, and then, at the end, because it gave Loki a little bit of power, it would totally make sense if Loki just went up in the middle of it and blew it up, because it gave him some of its power.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah, it's just like at the end of the third Matrix, where one Neo destroys all the Smiths, because, like, zeros and ones and, like, you know...
Zeros and ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That all makes perfect sense.
I wish liking movies based on mathematical terms magically equated to my being better at math. You know, like, I wish I was better at matrices because I like The Matrix. That'd be great.
There's a reason that, like, I stopped at, like, zeros and ones. Like, I tried to think of, like, a mathy term, and I couldn't.
Well, the mathy term would be
I almost said
matrix.
Decay rate algorithm, but that's I'm a crazy person now, for no reason. Hawkeye's going to be completely normal in the next time we see him.
That's a really good point. It really feels like... You know what? I take it back. A lot of the screen is pretty bad.
I think it looks fine.
The problem is that we keep putting people's faces right up against the camera, and for whatever reason, when you shoot on green screen, you have a big backdrop like that. You have a big landscape, and you have a person that's supposed to be standing in front of that landscape, and you put just a face with nothing else in the foreground, a lot of the time, it just doesn't look like they're there. Once again, when I say bad green screen, I don't mean I can see the green around them or whatever. I just mean it doesn't look like they're really in a place. It doesn't look like they're in an environment they can interact with. I don't buy that they could turn around and run into the mountains that you see in the background or whatever.
You think the Hopkins looks bored?
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense he said he didn't want to come back.
That he didn't want to come back, yeah. I wonder how much more they paid him to do the third one. Or if he just still had a contract and so he was forced to. But the way he talked, it was like he just didn't have to if he didn't want to. Because he was like, yep, 2 of those is enough for me, I'm done. And I could not believe when it was announced that he was in that third movie. Because of the way he talked about it. He was so done.
Which makes me think that they might actually have something special that, like, brought him back.
Or they just gave him a lot of money.
It's true.
Oh, I forgot the Stonehenge thing.
Even that's generic and obvious.
Yep.
Stonehenge.
And just the like important places that lead to one place on a map. That whole thing.
It's just...
He's not funny.
No. It's just... It's so lazy and paint by numbers.
Yeah. This is honestly... I'm working hard to stay engaged with this.
Me too.
And that's... And I'm having that as much as I have with any not great movie we've done in this series.
Oh boy, I cannot wait to live through the week of you living with this movie.
Aren't there... Yeah, you're going to get a hotel room, or I'm going to get a hotel... Like, there are bad movies...
No, you won't, because hotel rooms don't have Blu-ray players.
That's a good point. I can bring one with me. There are bad movies that we've done in this series that I would rather go back to, at least if I'm talking over them.
This is just so boring and uninteresting.
And this is just the kind of... You know, paint by numbers is a great way to put it. It's the kind of movie that this far into your shared universe, and of course, like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is already on and stuff. Like, we're already starting to... We know about Daredevil and Defenders and stuff now. Like, we know all that's coming. You got to avoid this kind of thing. Because you've got people saying, oh, I don't really like going to those movies. We get 2 a year and they all end the same way. You gotta be more careful about that.
Yeah.
And oh wow, are we starting to?
Yeah.
You know, we're starting to really subvert expectations, I think.
This is just...
Especially with Civil War, that climax is...
so small and intimate.
2 guys inside of a building.
Okay, that's something we don't do enough with.
These guys sound like they're just reading dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
It's my turn to speak. Now it's your time to speak. Now it's your time to speak. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I don't know.
What don't we do enough with?
Oh, that they exist from a universe that before the universe where there was nothing in the universe, and now there is a universe.
Dark.
Yeah, and why they want to destroy everything, because of all of the motivations to want to destroy everything, the fact that you existed before everything is not a bad one.
No, it's pretty good.
And you think everything's ruining nothing, and you want to go back to nothing.
That's a better excuse than Thor's excuse for not telling Jane Foster that he can come back to Earth now. Oh, and you're right. We still don't have an explanation for it, do we?
No.
Boy, if it's somewhere, I don't know where. Sorry, I'm stuck on that again. Because he's like, the Bifrost was destroyed, okay? And then, how did you fix it? No? And you're not going to ask that question, Jane Foster? Okay.
This is...
How do you have no scientific curiosity when you're a scientist?
This is the... This really is like the Rise of Silver Surfer to Thor's Fantastic Four.
It is. It really is.
Except it's longer and takes itself way more seriously.
Wait, yeah, that's part of the problem too, is that there's not enough self-awareness.
I had a contractual obligation to come back to this movie. I told him I wouldn't unless I was really important. So this is me being important.
There's a difference between tonally. I just want you to keep giving her dialogue in that voice. There's a difference.
Is that not what she sounds like to you?
Well, not until you did it, and now that's all I can hear, you know? Yeah, but, you know, I'm an entitled, important movie star. I don't know if she's actually really like that in real life.
I don't think she is. I think it's a legitimate...
I like Natalie Portman.
I think it's a legitimate thing to, if I'm going to come back and do this movie, I can't just be the girlfriend again. It's not her fault that this is what they did with, can I be important to the movie? Okay, so yeah, we'll make you the plot device and you'll be real smart in the final action.
So you're not saying it's like Storm X3?
It's not like Jennifer Lawrence in Apocalypse.
Like, where Halle Berry's like, you know, I better have an important role. Yeah. Although you still could do more with that.
Yeah.
I mean, something better with that, I guess. But I was just
This is, by the way, if you remember way early on, we talked about how nobody likes this movie, and someone was like, no, it's got a real inventive climax. This is the inventiveness. There are things going to different things, and this.
Yeah, and
this is why it's inventive. We're going to keep going to the same over or underlit desert and Earth, and it's real clever like that.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That might have been the first time whoever made that comment had seen a thing like this. But I'm going to name two things right off the bat: Monsters Incorporated, Matrix Reloaded. And there are many others.
And you can do something cool and fun with this. The problem is, it's not cool and fun, and they're not doing anything interesting with this.
And you know how a lot of these movies have been more fun and interesting to go back to after we've developed this world and made it bigger and added to that mythology? This is the one now, as I'm going back and looking at it, that is actually harder. Well, one of the ones that is harder to look at because of my knowing more and my having seen more. Because that whole thing is also done in Doctor Strange and better.
Yeah.
Like the sling ring thing takes this to 11, and whether or not you think that device is creative, we do creative things with it. And that movie is having a lot more fun with it, with this more self-aware. And what I was going to say a minute ago is there's a difference between having a couple or
remember that
one or two
important.
one or
I'm
two
not joking.
token. No, I know. No, I'm laughing because I know what you're talking about. But there's a difference between having one or two token like jokey characters and being self-aware. Those are not the same thing. Comic relief doesn't mean that the movie gets itself. Not funny.
No. Is that funny?
It's still kind of funny. But it's weird that you were right about Mew Mew, or the way she says that, because in the first movie, it's Meow Meow, and she's changed it. And I don't like that, because Meow Meow sounds more like Mjolnir. Like, I get how you could get it. What she's saying now is not what she said before, I don't think, and that's weird. Because that actress has one good running joke, and you'd think at least she would go to the director and be like, yeah, that's not how I'm not supposed to pronounce that.
Nah, man, she's got 2 broke girls' money. She doesn't need to be here for this.
I just want you to think of the words you just strung together out of context.
No, I know. I know what I said.
You said broke girls and money, and I kind of love that. Anyway. Oh, and there sort of is a vortex. I mean, it's not swirly and bright. It's not a Ghostbusters kind of vortex, but...
No, it is. Here it comes.
Is it?
I think so.
Does it shoot lightning? Is it a Ghostbusters vortex like it shoots lightning?
I don't know.
That's a prerequisite for the kind of vortex we're talking about. Or a criteria, not a prerequisite. I don't mean that it has to have already shot lightning before it appears in this film. Those are different things.
Why are you still in my movie?
Get out of my movie!
What are you possibly bringing to this situation?
When does Thor show up in this movie? That's what I want to know.
Yeah!
I'm telling you, he's given a different performance.
He is, and he's giving a different performance from what he will do the next time he shows up. Like, it's not like he has modified the performance. It's a different performance from what he just did and what he will do.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel like the same character as Avengers, Thor, and Avengers Age of Ultron.
No, but Age of Ultron feels like the same character as those other 2 movies.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And he gets some stuff to do in that movie.
Yeah.
It's not his movie. No, he gets more to do than he does
when he showed up in Age of Ultron, at the party scene, I had like this moment in the theater, I'm like, oh yeah,
I like this guy. Yeah. But you're right. As far as this Malekith plot, I do think that could have been really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, but you know what I would have done with that thematically? And again, this isn't me saying the movie's bad because it didn't do what I would have done. But just now that I'm thinking about it, the movie's not thought-provoking enough for me to like think about it while I'm watching the movie. Oh, that's right. It's got this cool idea. You you thematically talk about how somebody feels like things have gotten too complicated. We want to simplify it, and we often do that with the now really standard villain plot of, you know, the Ra's al Ghul Batman Begins, tear everything down and start over thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of not tear everything down to start over, but like, let's not even start over. We didn't need people in the first place. And then Ultron could have built on this. The universe was
fine before people showed up.
Yeah.
So peaceful.
Yeah, and if this didn't feel like an excuse for a villain plot and we actually explored that, I'm not saying that the philosophy that this guy is not a philosophy.
And
I'm not saying
that what he's still not the Malekith you wanted.
Right, but what I was going to say is it's not the same thing as Ultron, but Ultron could have built on that because Ultron's whole thing is people are the problem. You could have really built on that, right?
And doesn't that sound like the philosophy of a cosmic Joker?
Yes.
Like, just this nihilistic, crazy person?
Yeah, why can't he have fun while he's trying to kill everyone and everything?
I would.
Yeah. Because why not?
Yeah. Once you've gotten to that place, why not have some fun with it?
Why
you have to be so boring?
Your philosophy is amorality.
Was that ironic? His ship fell on him? That's how he dies?
Oh.
Aha, we got him?
Oh.
Way to go, team.
This is so dull.
It's so dull. This might be the worst. I feel like this is the least enjoyable.
In a way, this is our worst watch.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. I'm not saying that this movie's better than some of the other films we've watched.
Absolutely.
But this is the least enjoyable watch we've had.
It ties Elektra.
Oh.
And makes you wish we had been playing GoldenEye again.
Yep, we should have GoldenEye this.
I kind of can't believe that fight scene's already over.
The movie's over.
Yeah. There was a movie?
This is just the gag from the end of Avengers? Are we serious?
It's not a gag. We're not supposed to be laughing at the fact that now they're eating.
No, I think we are.
No, it's not that. She said he's going to come back. They're all thinking, "Oh, we're sad Thor's not around." Like it's different.
Okay.
It's not the same thing. I see why you thought of it, but that's not what the scene is.
It's just because it kept going. Like it's like, okay, they're eating, and then like I wait for the scene to start, and I'm like, oh, they're just eating.
No, I mean I do think it's maybe a problem because of the shawarma thing. I like that you would do that this soon after Avengers, and then people would, like you just did, mistakenly not understand what your character's motivations are, because they're not tired because they were just in a fight, and you don't know how long after that happened either. That could have been 2 or 3 days later. You don't know. It probably not, but I'm just saying you don't know how many hours it is. They could have all had a shower and change. I don't know. No, it's supposed to be they're sad. It's supposed to be depressing. Is he going to come back? But she shouldn't care because she's not a priority for him. And also, they haven't had any kind of an arc together. They've just been running around together.
That line should have been different.
Why?
I don't know.
Like, I'd rather be a good man than a great king. Like, why is that a problem?
I feel like that line needs to indicate the compromises of being a king, and I don't feel like it does. I don't know. I feel like there's a better way to say that. I don't know what it is, but I feel like that line could be better.
Do you mean that it implies that you can't be a good man to be a great king, and that's the problem with it?
No, it should imply it more, I think.
Well, see, I think the line is fine. I think Odin needs screen time. Because the whole point was...
The whole point is he has to make the
compromises in order to be... But all you have to do is put him on screen more and make the movie about that, and then that line's great.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it does imply that. I'd rather be a good man than a great king. It implies you can't be
He should have learned... See, this movie is saying that he's not morally great. He has to make these decisions because it's right. Because he's a great king. This movie
And he's willing to do
the things...
what is necessary, which just makes him Razagul, really.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Oh boy, do I not want to have to think about this movie. But no, it's not implying that necessarily, because it's not him. So there's that.
It's not implying what?
That he's not morally gray?
No, it is from Thor's perspective.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, is like... It's Chris Yost, it's Marcus and McFeely.
That's interesting.
And then story by two completely different people. Like...
I was really hoping that I would give this another look and there would be something in it that I kind of missed.
These are kind of nice. I really like these a little bit. But here's...
Yeah, and I thought it was cool that the menus did this.
It'd be one thing if, like, the plot of this didn't hold together. But, like, those writers seem to be alright. Or at least maybe they are only good. Like, even if you're not excited about this material, they can write characters. They can write relationships. We've seen them do it.
And why does it have to be so paint by numbers just because you're not really into this genre? You know? Can't you just write a half-decent story that's not a great fantasy thing? Like, you'd forgive it a lot more if it just didn't do...
If it was good.
If it just didn't do the Norse and the mythology stuff as well. Well, it's an okay story. It's not a Thor movie, but it's an okay story.
Yeah.
How many times have you said that about things?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there was a spark. These guys knew how to give these characters personalities. They just weren't right for this material. Okay, that's at least a watchable film.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Wow, did none of the people we're seeing right now need to be in this movie? Oh, and I forgot that was Zachary Levi. That was a really weird choice.
I didn't even remember he was in this movie.
That it's him, but
poor Jamie Alexander.
Right. Wait, that was Alice Krige? I forgot about that. Maybe I knew that at one time.
Who's Alice Krige?
Alice Krige is the Born Queen.
Oh.
And she had a career when she was younger. She did some horror films and stuff.
Oh, cool.
She was in a was it Haunted House, or I forget.
Was it House?
No, it's not House. No. I'm talking like in the
no. There was a
like
horror
70s, early. No, I know it's not. It's not that.
So, there's an interesting story about this. Because remember, this is the first anyone sees of Guardians. There's no trailer, there's no...
Yeah.
And the director of Dark World came out and said about... Because this is actually directed by James Gunn.
Yeah.
The director of Dark World came out and said, well, I'm happy with what I shot.
Oh, weird.
Egg on his face now.
He didn't want this in there.
No. He thought this looked terrible.
Oh, okay. But that's what I mean. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That's egg on his face. He went back to doing Game of Thrones. He's not going to be doing movies again. Meanwhile, James Gunn has opened up a whole new career for himself. I mean, he was making movies before, but...
And he is influencing...
other films.
Filmmaking, in a major way. How often do you hear someone say, we gotta make it like Guardians?
Yeah.
Also, and I'm sorry to keep bringing this movie up, isn't it really strange, the movie we got when we looked at Beyond after we heard Paramount say, you gotta make it like Guardians?
Yeah.
It's not that at all.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
No.
It's a Star Trek movie.
There was an action scene set to a song.
Which we did.
Which was a callback to the first film.
Kind of, yeah. Which is also a thing that we've done in Star Trek. I mean, there's precedent for that. First Contact does it. Like, Magic Carpet Ride when we shoot the Phoenix. Like, we've done this before.
What? And I remember a lot of people seeing that scene and being like, I don't know about Guardians.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And that flavor, the tone of that is real consistent with Guardians. It's strange to be introduced to it there because we don't know what we're looking at.
Yeah.
It seems really strange.
These credits seem to be moving faster. Is it just me?
Where was the Stan Lee cameo? I did not notice it.
Oh, it was when Selvig was in the crazy person place and he was like doing the thing with the shoes, and he's like, I'm explaining the universe. And Stanley goes, "You've got my shoe."
Oh, that's
right. Or can I have my shoe back?
That's right.
But am I crazy? These are moving faster than the Marvel movies normally do. Like, they're done with the movie.
I'm not sure. Or we might have just had fewer credits than some of the other things.
That might be. I can't imagine with all the effects.
Yeah, but like the last couple movies we've seen have been just walls and walls.
This has to have more CGI people than Iron Man 3, I would think.
And the Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because the Wolverine had walls, I thought. Or
maybe
not so much.
Different credits are going on different places. Hey, have you ever seen this?
Yeah.
Okay. This seems real new to me. How am I supposed to look at the textile artists and the costume makers? Hairstylists and makeup art.
You're not. You're supposed to close your eyes and listen to this wonderful score. This score's not bad. It's not
memorable,
but that's this movie. So at least it's consistent.
I don't know. I feel like these credits are saying a real clear message of like, we know you want to leave. We're sorry. We're doing this quickly as we can.
I want, I don't know. You might be right. I want Ragnarok to be great.
Me too.
And that's an obvious thing to say. I never want a movie to be bad and fail, obviously.
No, I really want it to be great.
But there is a real chance to redeem some of this.
I mean, we won't make this movie better.
And the nice thing, no, certainly not. But finally, a good standalone Thor movie.
Yes.
That's all I want.
Yep.
And we're going to more of the major Simonson material and major story points in Simonson, not just characters that we pulled out or character traits that specifically started there or that he brought out real hard. And we remember we remember that run for that stuff. It's doing his
Simonson is the only writer credited aside from Stan Lee.
Interesting.
Everyone else was artists. Even Straczynski was mentioned. I mean, there's nothing Straczynski in this, so that makes sense.
Story-wise, this isn't really even doing a lot, though, is the thing. Like,
well, you probably have to give him credit because he created Malekith.
Yeah, exactly. But that's all you got. I mean, most of this is just made up.
Yeah,
it's made up in the first place. It's fiction.
Yeah,
but we were talking. I was sitting here racking my brain trying to remember the thing I was going to mention a minute ago. I listened to this really cringeworthy interview with Stan Lee today from like 3 or 4 years ago. Oh, well, it was when Avengers was coming out, and the girl giving the interview kept talking. Kept asking questions to Stan Lee as if he was directing the films, and she could not take the really nice, subtle hints Stan Lee was giving her that he does not have anything to do with these movies. And she clearly was reading from, like, a pre-written...
Is it a full-grown woman?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it was really strange. And she just kept asking things like, when you make one of these movies... It was bizarre.
See, that's the difference between Stan Lee and Bob Kane. Bob Kane would have said, yes, when I make one of these movies.
Yeah, and it seemed like he either wasn't really picking up on that or was just being really nice, but I just thought that was really strange. And finally, she asked him a thing where he has to come out and say, I don't have anything to do with with making these movies. Because she was like, how do you choose your cameos? And he was like, I have nothing to do with that. They call me and I show up and then I find out what I'm doing.
I mean, if you don't know anything about Stan Lee's mental state, and it's gotten worse over the past couple of years, but
yeah, he was still in great pretty good.
I think it might be fair to be like, do you look over the script and be like, this is the minor character?
Well, sure, but that's not what she said. She made it sound like he has full control, and I'm talking about
like he's
the whole interview.
Like he's M. Night Shyamalan directing the film and throwing himself in a scene.
Yeah.
Or Scorsese. I think Scorsese does that.
Yeah, because her attitude was, oh wow, you sure put out a lot of movies.
This is the end of the movie.
We'll see if I've seen it. I don't remember right off.
This is how this movie is supposed to end.
No, I did see this.
Okay, maybe it was your second time around. You must have missed it the first time, because I remember you being like, "What do you mean there was another after the credit scene?"
Yeah.
This is how you end this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the
like more so than any other scene. I think that's the end of the movie.
And you mean with any other movie that we've had this problem with?
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, that's kind of funny.
But that is your after credit scene.
Yeah.
Not the end of your movie. Like, that is the end of this movie.
Especially after the whole, I don't want to be the king, I've made a choice, I'm going to live a life. Yeah. That's... And I wish he had... But I wish he'd learned more. I wish it was... I should have done this in the first place. Why didn't I show up with all this time I could have shown up?
Like we talk about how, like
doesn't that look like an end of a character arc that didn't actually happen?
Yeah. Well, especially because they don't kiss at the beginning.
Yeah. There's all these things that pays off.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's great or anything, but there's all these things that pays off.
That should be the end of the movie.
That's so weird. Why? And you had to sit through all these credits, but you're right. Those were scrolling faster. The more the like as fast as that went. Yeah. Yeah.
Well. And then that's right. We're gonna watch All Hail the King.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
I forgot. I took my headphones off. I plugged everything. I completely forgot.
That's why we're still on camera. I'm waiting for it to. Eric's like, Cap, you gonna run your program, buddy?
I thought we were doing the.
Yes, I certainly am. We're gonna go to the bonus features here.
I thought we were also doing Avengers. We were just gonna.
So guys, we're gonna watch All Hail the King. If you want to watch it with us, feel free, of course, to do that. You know, it's your computer, your phone, or whatever. You can do whatever you want to.
Which is only on the Blu-ray, which is a thing that I think is obnoxious.
Yeah, that is obnoxious, but we have that a lot with special features. But anyway, so if you're watching the Blu-ray, or I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere, but if you want to watch it with us, get it timestamp 0 and get ready to press play, and you can watch it with us. Everybody, please press play right now. Here we go.
We may talk a little bit less because Cap has not seen this.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna watch this.
It'll be an actual reaction video.
Okay, actually, hold on. It's loading. I did not actually... I thought that would go faster. Sorry, folks. I should have actually gotten mine to timestamp 0. I'm giving instructions I'm not following. That's a problem. So, hold on. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Press play now! I'm sorry, everybody. But yeah, I am just going to kind of watch this, I think. I mean, I know about this and what the point of it was, but I just never bothered. I never bothered really watching these. It was nice of him to come back to do this. He has a Captain America shield tattoo.
That was part of the Mandarin design.
Was it?
Yeah. It's a Captain America shield with an Anarchy A in it. I talked about that in the...
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I didn't know what you were talking about when you brought that up. Chalky milk. I'm sure he was excited to get to play this again. This is all in one location, but it looks good.
Yeah.
His dialogue is great.
And it's written by the co-writer of Iron Man 3.
Okay. I've seen that guy and stuff. And he gets typecast as criminals. And I think maybe specifically people that are in prison. But I'm not sure. He just has the glasses? I wish I'd gone and watched this. I also care more now because I had a really good viewing the last time I watched Iron Man 3. Yeah, I was asking that myself. Oh, that's not 3 words. We're not even gonna talk about it. Just give him a TV show. Just give him a sitcom. Call Fake Mandarin. You would watch the crap out of it.
I'd watch the crap out of Fake Mandarin. Although I would also watch, we're going to get to see a TV show that he did a pilot for, and I would watch that show too.
Oh, cool. How long is this?
It's like 10-15 minutes.
Oh, is it that long?
Oh, it's a short film.
I was really expecting like 4 or 5 minutes.
No, it's a short film.
Okay. I apologize if this is not interesting to anyone, but Eric wanted me to watch this, and we thought, why not tack it on, so... Once again, you have the power. Naturally. Give him my TV. KGB gun. The sickle in the sea. So this is supposed to be an old show he made?
Yeah. That didn't get picked up after the pilot. Which is why he won't work with CBS.
Yeah, and that's a really amusing meta thing. Because that's them kind of making fun of the competition. rocket surgeon. That's really nice of somebody to remember then. That look. What? Really does make you want a fourth Iron Man movie real badly. Did you think it was a totally fictional thing? Oh my god. I thought he was going to keep saying that like he was trying to decide how to read the line. I don't want to die. Somebody thinks they're making a movie. Like, this all could have been on the big screen, man.
Yep. Drew Pearce. He is the co-writer of Iron Man 3. It looks like he directed as well.
I kind of thought we might actually see him.
Mandarin?
Yeah.
Well, no, because you'd have to cast him.
Yeah.
And we don't know what we're doing.
But I thought we might at least see a costume or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know? That was cool, though.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It has a post-credit scene.
It does. Naturally. Of course. I mean, it's a Marvel thing, you know. You know even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does that?
Really?
Oh, every episode, yeah.
I didn't know that.
So that's your sitcom.
Yeah!
Fake Mandarin and Hammer.
Marvel Prison?
Yeah! Oh, that'd be great!
But yeah, no, they did this, and they clearly have no plans to actually ever do anything with the Mandarin, at least right now.
Yeah.
They just did this as a, we're really sorry, eventually we will fix it.
But it works.
No,
like
it's
the
good.
idea that there would be a real Mandarin.
And it makes me excited for
totally
if we
works.
ever get to that stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing that we've gotten after this is the Ten Rings are one of the people there in Ant-Man considering buying.
He's just improvising forever. Because that's Sam Rockwell. He can't get his head in this.
For Buzz and Arms. Well, we're both arms dealers. He's great.
Yeah.
How did S.H.I.E.L.D. not go, oh, you wanna be on our show? Come on.
I know. Yeah, if he came out and asked to be on it, how do you not do a whole arc or something? Yeah, I don't get that.
How is the second half of this season of S.H.I.E.L.D. not S.H.I.E.L.D. Hammer?
Hammer Tech. Instead, we made L&D a subtitle.
So, that's that.
Yeah! Well, that was fun.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, anyway, I think we'll end it out here.
Yeah.
Everybody, thanks so much for watching. We sure appreciate it. And we will see you tomorrow and our next movie, which, once again, I did not look up.
It's Winter Soldier, yes?
It should be Winter Soldier. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else.
I think it's Winter Soldier, then ASM 2. And then Guardians.
Unless that's flipped, but yeah.
No, because Winter Soldier was an early release.
Okay. Well, yeah, but where's Days of Future?
Oh, no, maybe ASM 2 was the early release.
I thought it was.
We'll watch a movie
So
tomorrow.
it's one of those, yeah, but anyway, we should be more prepared.
It will not be Guardians. I know that. It will not be Guardians.
No, it won't. But anyway, thanks for watching, folks. We will see you again tomorrow. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.